Hey, shalom, y'all. Bashim Yal Shabrakatah. Yo, Shemar Atham, Bashim Yal Shai. It's Preaching Officer 1000 Matham Yard out of I.S.U.P.K. Started 1 West 125th Street Hall, New York, under Commander during YAHANNA. Been teaching the truth about the Bible since 1969. That blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are God's chosen people according to the Bible. You understand? And, this is the Brotherhood Class. We here today, the UN Library, God, we do it up. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot to talk about. All I've been seeing up and down social media, rightfully so to see it because it's what we need to be seeing, because we're seeing a lot of, everything else that's distracting us from what we really need to be paying attention to. Is a lot of our people are being unalived on a day-to-day basis here in America. You understand? And now it's like, a lot of our people online is showing and just showing different cases, different people, that's coming up missing, different people that's different brothers, different sisters coming up missing. You understand? And we just gotta know what time we in right now. We gotta know what time we in. We gotta understand what's the mindset we should be having. You understand? Because I think the whole spirit of this place right now, not that I think it, I know the whole spirit of America right now is that we have to, take everything we get, no matter if it's, good or bad, and keep smiling every day and not worry about any of the slight or the harm that's being done to us every day in America. You understand? And we're going to talk about it here in this class today. You understand? I want to grab a precept real fast. I'm gonna grab a precept. Understand? I'm gonna go to Romans chapter 13, verse 11. It says, "And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep." Right now is the time that we need to be waking up. You know what I mean, right? Because I know a lot of our people right now is worrying and fixated on when is the next time we can get high, when next time we can, smoke this, smoke that, whatever vape we can get. You understand? Like, get whatever pleasures in life we think we can get. You understand? But we gotta understand there's more, in life than just, things like that. When our people are under attack and we ain't even really paying attention to that. Our people are under attack, or and a nation outside of us has committed acts of war against us. You understand? We're not thinking like that because we don't think as a nation. We don't think as a people that have, a strong structure, a solid nation that looks after them. Case in point, we looking at, Africans, some of us, are looking at Africans and looking to Ghana and all that stuff for those things right there. But they will never, claim black people in America. They will never claim that we are the same people because they know we're not the same. We just have a false, sense of, protection when it comes to what we have a false protection sense of protection when it comes to us having a nation. You understand? We don't have that because we just been destroyed under this oppressor. We just have Salakim. Salak. Because we have, what I'm saying, we don't have a solid nation to look at for us to protect us. You understand? These other nations that's over us, they have everything they need. You understand? They even have, the Chinese come over here and, they have all the restaurants that they have set up in our neighborhoods, and they hire their own people. They hire their own people, and, therefore they set up their own people off of our money. You understand? And be able to put their kids through, all the Ivy League schools due to that. You know what I mean? And when you have that happening, and you have they not the only ones. You got the East Indians doing the same thing. Of course, our oppressors do the same thing. You understand? And we all know who our oppressors are. The ones that that was was just unalived, a brother by the name of Nolan Wells. You understand? Those people right there are our oppressors, our direct oppressors. You understand? And what we have to understand is these other nations, they doing well for themselves, but black people, Hispanics and Native American Indians, we have nothing to call our own. We have nothing to make sure that we are solid and standing strong as a people. But that's what we building up here in the UPK, in the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, under Commander YAHANNA. What we are doing is we're building a solid foundation. We're building that nation up that I was just speaking about, that nation that we do not have right now, or that our people don't know about right now. We're building it up with leadership, solid men that choose to, change their life and choose to be honorable men before the Lord, before the Most High God. You understand, and not do the things we was doing before in our past. You understand, got brothers coming from all different walks of life. You understand, and they changed their life to be the upstanding man they supposed to be for the Most High, and to live and lead by example, and to die for our people if need be. You understand? That's what we building up here in the UPK. Outside of us, really don't have that, and all we doing is getting bigger and bigger, and our people going to grow hip to it more and more as time goes on. You understand? And we, taking sisters in too and having them change their life. But outside of us, the point being is, outside of us, we don't have that. All we have is our people dying. It's like being unalived. You know what I mean? Having our lives being taken by our oppressors. Our oppressors, you know what I'm saying, have one mission in mind, it seems like, for the past few months, is to unalive black people and Hispanics and Native Americans. You understand? And I'm gonna read the top of this precept again, real quick. It says, "And that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe." So right now, our salvation is way, Christ's second return is coming. You know what I mean? And when he comes back, it's not going to be hugs and kisses. It's not going to be for hugs and kisses. When he comes back, it's going to be, severe punishment for our oppressors because of what they do today and what they get away with today. You understand? If black so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans did what our oppressors are doing to us today, you understand, we would never be able to get away with it. You would never be able to get away with it, but they do get away with it because they're in power. They're in power, and they want to make sure that they get off and get their people off from serving time, or being brought to justice by any means. You understand? The Nolan Wells case has been going on for a little minute, and now they got, like, I was digging into it, doing a little research and all that stuff, like, you know what I'm saying? They have the people that did it, the people that allegedly did it, right? That was with them on the boat and all that stuff. You know what I mean? They all claiming they don't know what happened, they don't know what happened. And but they one of they family members is a judge, and she's taking care of all that and making sure that they get off without having to serve time. Nobody's gonna get locked up for that. Nobody's gonna get you know what I'm saying? Nobody's gonna, be brought to justice for that. The point is, like, we have to understand they are not gonna have our best interests at heart. And that's leads to another point, another, subtopic to this class right here is, like, we're gonna have to separate. We're gonna have to not be we're gonna have to, go back to segregation again. You understand? Because integration destroyed us great. You understand? Integration destroyed our nation, destroyed, everything we had before. You understand? We were such a strong nation at one point in time. But since we have integrated, since we, did what Martin Luther King Jr. dream was, since we, made that a reality for ourselves, now we're destroyed. And I'm gonna get into, some of that a little later on. But I'm gonna continue reading on this for a little bit more. I'm gonna start again from the top. It says, "In that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep." Right now, we gotta really wake up. We gotta wake up. Smell the coffee, because if you see what's going on and you not sleep, you will see how this place really is. This place really could never be our rest. This place could never, really, we can never really get comfortable in this place. Or should we? We should never have a mindset of trying to be comfortable in this place. And one of the examples of thinking that this place could be, a comfort zone, a comfort space for you and your family is letting your son, letting your people, your family know that they can be friends or be, close with their oppressors. Because, I don't know if we know about now, but our oppressors don't love us. Our oppressors, don't have your best interests at heart. If you look at, the relationship between us and our oppressors today, you can see that our people are getting unalive, getting their lives taken, every single time, more than not. You understand? This is why we have to go back to separating from these people that's unaliving us, that's harming us, that's harming our babies, that's harming our, our little ones. I know y'all. I don't know if y'all seen it, but like it was a sister by the name of Juliana. You know what I'm saying? 16-year-old, 16-year-old. You know what I mean? That was found hanging from a tree. She was lynched. She was lynched, and I don't know about how many of us, seen it or even care about it or even, paid attention to it. But she was found hanging from a tree, and that's one sister that should be alive, should be able to walk around, should be able to, understand, you know what I mean, do live her life. Everybody deserves to live. You know what I mean? All, you know what I mean? Black men, black kids. You know what I mean? Latino men, Latino women. You know what I mean? As a whole, we deserve to live. So when you see a sister by the name of Juliana, that's 16 years old, found hanging from a tree, you understand? That should be alarming to black people. That should be alarming to us, and ring a bell in our head saying something ain't right, something not right. You understand? And what should we do? And what should we do? Because in response to this happening, in response to this happen, we should be trying to separate. And I don't know if we familiar with the Harlem Renaissance or anything like that. But during that time, during the time of the Harlem Renaissance, it was also the Great Depression. The Great Depression was, the time where, uh, bear with me a second, Salaki. All right, Salaki, the water for bearing with me. What I was talking about was, okay, so during the Great Depression, right? That was the time where the Harlem Renaissance was taking place, right? And the Great Depression was the time where our oppressors were, living in hell. Basically, they was living in hell. They living in hell, and seeing black people thrive, seeing black people doing amazingly for themselves, for ourselves, right? You know what I mean? And that's exactly what the Harlem Renaissance was. The Harlem Renaissance was us, you know what I mean, living amazingly. I even want to pull pictures up, you know what I mean, from that time period, if y'all allow me to do so, right? Just 1 second, 1 second, 1 second. You know what I'm saying? These amazing pictures up from the Harlem Renaissance. Take a, you know what I mean, step back in time a little bit. You know what I mean? You got, you know, that right there. You know what I mean? Where brothers over there playing the, you know, the saxophone. You understand? Got that one right there. I got some more. I'm gonna share real quick. You know what I mean? A lot of amazing pictures right here. You know what I'm saying? Look, dancing, having an amazing time. You understand? And then there's even some artwork I want to show too. Got this some of this artwork based off the time period, based off of, you know what I mean, the time we was in and how good we was living. We didn't have to, you know, really stress about nothing. Wasn't in, you know, crazy bondage like we are today. You see how they, you know, have some sense of freedom a little bit, where they, you know, get to go about they business. They got our own businesses on the street. You understand? Playing music all day long. It was just, you know what I'm saying, a good time. But we not having that today. I should put on full screen. Let me see. So like, I'm gonna get me out the way. Let's try to, you know, get this joint full screen. You know what I mean? Like, this is the stuff we was dealing with back then. This is what we was dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but good times. But but you know what I mean, we can't have that today because we didn't gave it up. We didn't gave it up to, you know, we didn't listen to Martin Luther King. We didn't listen to Martin Luther King and his dream that he had, right? Where he wanted us to, you know, basically give up everything we had so we can, you know, be with the same people that's hurting us. Be with the same people that, you know, wants to see us, you know what I mean, lifeless, you understand, in the streets. We have to, you know, pay attention to what we're doing and how we can get back to that time period. You know what I mean? The thing is, you know what I mean? The thing is, right? How we get back to that time is how I was saying before. We got to go back to what we was doing before. And what was that time period? If anybody watching it might want to, you know what I mean, participate in the class, what was something that we were doing and during the Harlem Renaissance, something that was happening within our community that was happening that we don't have today, that we do not have today? What were we doing? What was happening during, you know what I mean, the Harlem Renaissance versus today with us? I'll give y'all like 10 seconds if y'all want to participate. As you know what I mean, just put it in the chat. You know what I mean? But one thing that was happening was segregation. Segregation. And I'm gonna get a precept based off of that right quick on what the Lord wants us to do, on what the Most High wants us to do. You know what I mean? I'm gonna play it right quick. You know, it's like I'm gonna read it real quick. It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse 3. All right. It says, "Neither shalt thou make marriages with them. Thy daughter thou shalt not give unto his son, nor his daughter shalt thou take unto thy son." And who is it talking about? It's talking about the other nations. When I say nations, talking about race. Talking about race. All right. So it's talking about not having your black child, you understand, your Latino child grow up and, you know, taking an oppressor's daughter, you know what I mean, or an oppressor's son, you know what I mean. It's saying we should not do that. It's saying we should be within ourselves, within our own families. You understand? Black, Hispanics, and Native American, you know, people are for ourselves, or, you know what I mean, supposed to marry within ourselves. And that's just, if y'all think that wasn't, you know what I mean, what, you know, that wasn't it. I'm gonna get another precept. You know what I mean? That precept right there was showing how we should only have our marriages in house, right? And this one is going to, further go into my point. You understand on what I was saying? It's the book of First Ezra, chapter 8, verse 83, 84. Salaki. Therefore shall therefore now shall ye not join your daughters unto their sons, neither shall ye take their daughters unto your sons. That's basically verbatim what I just read in Deuteronomy, right? And I'm gonna go a step further. I'm gonna read verse 85. It says, moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them. Talking about these nations, these races. We can never have peace with these nations. Why? That's the mistake the young brother Nolan Wells made. And I, feel sorry for his family and everything like that. You understand? Because it's a terrible situation he was caught up in. The brother, they were saying, and people, online talking about how on some footage they heard him calling out for his mother while they was beating the brother, while they were allegedly beating the brother. You understand? It's a terrible thing that the brother had to go through, and that's why it's all important. Why we should teach our sons, teach our daughters, or whether you black, Hispanic, Native American. If you black, Hispanic, Native American, you need to teach your children, not to have friends with your oppressors. You can't have friends, be friends with your oppressors. You understand? Because they're dangerous. Put in a way a child to understand. They're dangerous. They're gonna, put you in terrible situations. There is just for their safety. And then they'll understand more and more when they get older that they can't do that. The scriptures also say, in the book of Proverbs, train up a child in the way he should go. You understand that when he gets older, he shall not depart from it. Paraphrasing. You understand? Like we gotta, do that. That's how you train them up correctly. That's part of training the child up correctly. When you tell them, don't be friends with your oppressors, because they're gonna, seek to just put a noose around your neck and have you hanging from a tree somewhere. You understand? Like that's, wisdom to give to your child. I know it don't seem like it today because we in a world where, it's glorified to love everybody. It's glorified to love everybody, and that's what the church been teaching us for so long. And what has gotten us? I seen a video today with Nolan Wells' father being asked, "Well, do you think it's a race thing? Do you think it's a race thing that your son was, unalive like that?" And he can't say that it was. He can't say no. What he actually did in the video in response to that, he said, "I don't want to think that. I don't want to think that." You know what I'm saying? That's the product of the Christian church. You understand? When you do that, that's what the Christian church taught you throughout your whole life. It's just ingrained in your head that you have to just not think about race at all when every other race on the planet thinks about race. We have to, wisen up. How many, how many of our sons got to get taken away from us? How many of our daughters got to be found hanging from trees before we, understand, that we cannot have them be friends with our enemies, with our oppressors. You understand? We can't do that. So let me read it again. I'm gonna go back. Read again from the top of 85. It says, moreover, ye shall never seek to have peace with them, that ye may be strong. That's why the Lord tell us right there, we can never have peace with them. We can't have peace with them so we can be strong. You know why? Unfortunately, what the brother had went through with Nolan Wells, with them people, with them, oppressors on that boat, at that party, at that pool party. is, he didn't know that he would be stronger in separation from them Edomites. You understand? He thought it was cool to be around them and everything like that. And then unfortunately got his life taken. I seen a video also where they, taking his body and flinging it around and all that, his lifeless body, flinging it around. You understand? This is this should be uh, taught. This should be, parenting 101 in every black household currently today. You understand? Because if we don't do this, I'm gonna constantly go on my phone every week, every day, and see another black child being unalived by oppressors. I'm gonna see a little black girl, a little black sister unalived by oppressors. I'm gonna keep seeing it every day. You know what I mean? If we don't do this, because we have a problem in thinking that they could be changed, or oppressors can be changed. We have a problem in thinking that our oppressors can, that our oppressors can, they not all like that, or they not, what I mean, they kids not like that, because they got to be taught that. I'm gonna let you know something that the Lord let us know a long time ago, and what the men in the I.S.U.P.K know. You understand? Is that it's not that they being taught to be that way. It's in them inherit. It's like, they inherit that hate from, what I mean, they forefathers. That's just in their blood to not love us. The Lord called them our enemies for a reason. The Most High said that Esau is our enemies for a reason. That, he prophesied that they would take us into slavery, that they would have us in bondage for bondmen and bondwomen, and he said that our enemies would do that. And who did it? If we're looking at history, who did it? You understand? Our oppressors are our enemies, and we cannot teach our children that they are cool. That they cool to have, be friends with, because they're gonna end up going to a party, to a birthday party. They're gonna end up going to a graduation party. They're gonna end up going to a swimming pool party, a college party, and then have their life taken from them. You understand? This is the wisdom that you have to give to your child. You got to give this to your child. If you're a Black, Hispanic, Native American, you understand? ICE just killed, it's like unalive, a Latino brother not too long ago too. Shot him unalive. What I mean, flat, point blank, shot him. And now his life is lost, and now he has, what I mean, now he has a family, a wife that's a widow now. You understand? Like, he has to deal with that. He has his family that has to deal with that now. So what we have to do as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians is understand that these nations will never love us. These nations will never love us, and I would really prefer for us to not to learn the hard way in this whole thing. We don't have to learn the hard way in this whole matter. You understand? We don't have to learn the hard way, but one way or another, we're going to learn. We're going to have to learn. You understand? You know what I mean? Now let me drop this preset real quick. That should let you know, like, we cannot be you know what I mean? We cannot be being friendly and buddy buddy with these oppressors, man, because they don't love us. They never did. My bad. It's a lot. I'm just trying to get something off the screen. All right, bet. You know what I mean? So that's that right there. And what Martin Luther King did, what I mean, was it was a Martin Luther King was planned. Like, he was a decades long plan. Like, he was a abstract plan that was put in place long before him. You know what I'm saying? Going back to the eugenics program and all that stuff right there. Anything that these oppressors push out to us the most, we got to look at it with a side eye. You know what I mean? Because it could never, we can't make that make sense on how. All right, man. He telling us to get with, the people that Like, come on, the whole thing didn't make sense from the jump. He had a dream that we gonna be with the same people, you know what I mean, that we had to go through the Jim Crow era with, that we had to, constantly seen you know what I mean, put crosses, firing crosses, burning crosses on our lawns. We had to go through slavery with, you know what I mean, that enslaved us. You understand? We didn't go through it with them, but they enslaved us. We got to go through to the same people and hug them and kiss them and be friendly with them. The same people that are our enemies. He should have known it was a trap from the jump. And he did not give a damn. He just cared about his money being good. And then he realized it wasn't worth it at the end, and admitted that he was leading us into a burning house at the end on record, him saying that. You understand? So it's all important on why we must come back together. You know what I mean? It's a precept right here that we heard many times before, but we should never forget it. It says Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 1, it says, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. And that old nation not desired right there is, everything you see on social media, if you're paying attention. If you're paying attention to the news and what's going on how, every day a black man coming up missing, a black child coming up missing, a Latino is being harassed by ICE. You understand? We that nation that's not desired. We that nation that's not desired, and that is despised on his land. Excuse me. So what we have to do is gather ourselves together, like it said in the precept. It says, gather yourselves together, yea, gather together, O nation not desired. Because when we come back together and in the ISUPK, you understand, and change our life for the better, man. That's how growth comes, gets brought forth. That's where the growth starts. You understand? And we getting bigger and bigger year by year. And what we have to, understand is this is your family. This is your home. This is your everything you need here. Your military, your might is all in here, coming that's given to us by the grace and mercy of the Most High. You understand? Where we come up in here and you got yourself a nation, men that you can call when it's an emergency, something is going on with you, where you don't have to really rely on this country so much. You understand? Because I'm hip you to something about this country. We just brought out last night on Black Watch. Shout out to Black Watch. And it's a precept I like bringing out all the time as well. On Micah 2:10, where it says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest. This place here in America could never be our rest. This place here where we constantly seeing our loved ones being gunned down, being brutalized by police, by regulars, stinking, oppressive civilians, trailer park trash that feel like they got some power, that Donald Trump is in office and want to inflict harm on us. You know what I'm saying? That's why we always got to remember that this place can never be our rest. That this place can never be our rest, man. And it says this also. It says, for this, also like it says, because it is polluted, it shall destroy you, even with the sword destruction. It said this place will destroy us with a sword destruction, like we seeing today, like I've been seeing all day long on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Showing on how our people coming up missing left and right. Being dead, unalive bodies being found. You know what I'm saying? After they spend time with their oppressor friends. You understand? I seen sisters being unalive because they want to, get down with the swirl. They want to get with an oppressor, and then they come up missing. You understand? Like we have to, understand like this place right here has to go, and we have to, not go with it. We have to make sure that we are, clinging on to ourselves. The more and more this happens, we'll, what I mean, we'll wake up to the fact that we cannot be, with these people. We cannot be around these people, man. And then you don't know that there's a, you don't know that the Lord telling us that for a reason. He telling us that so we could be stronger. He telling us that not so we could be weaker. You understand? Like when you when you separate from them, we're then gonna have more confidence and more integrity within our own nation. We're gonna have more, Salaki. We're gonna have more, to be proud of within ourselves. Even, if we gotta start off from a, lower than we were when we where it was when we were attached to these oppressors. Like Captain Maria, Captain 10,000 Aria was bringing out last night on, like black people, we say we want to be free, but like, and Latinos and Native Americans, when we say we want to be free, when we do become free, it's going to come with a little bit of suffering. You got to be able to suffer a little bit. You understand, like how oppressors, when they came here and they tried and they seen this land, they touched down on this soil and all that, and the Native Americans was here. The Native Americans was here, and they, knew this land more than the land knew itself. You know what I mean? And they observed them, and he said they was like, they got to enslave. This ain't verbatim, but paraphrasing and just speeding it up. They came up to the conclusion like the Native Americans, they wanted to enslave them. And then fast forward, they have to suffer, learn how to get they learn from the Native Americans how to survive the winters and things of that nature. They didn't start off with, skyscrapers in New York City and all that stuff like that, how it is today. They started off, graping, robbing, and unaliving everybody to get what they had, and that's a evil way they got it. But the point being is like we're gonna do it the righteous way. We're gonna do it on the right hand side, where we're gonna, be change our lives, and the Lord gonna have mercy on us, like it says in the book of Isaiah. I'm gonna get it real quick. I'm gonna wrap it in a little. We running up on the time, but like in the book of Isaiah, where it says, "For the Lord," for the Isaiah verse 14, chapter 14, "For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob." Meaning, the Lord have mercy on us. He gonna have us set up in our own land. You understand? And then the nations, the heathen, our oppressors, they're gonna want to cleave on to us because they're gonna see how powerful we are. They're gonna see how powerful we became, and they're gonna want to know, how they can, if we could help them out, basically. You know what I'm saying? They want to cleave on us. They going how we basically, to let you understand it more vividly, how we celebrate Christmas here in America and all that, and Halloween and Thanksgiving in America. When we have our own land set up under Christ, when Christ return, you understand, he has his kingdom here, which is the whole earth. You know what I mean? He's going to be ruling over the planet. You understand? And, oppressors are going to be there, but they're going to be observing the Passover, not in the way that we would be observing it, but they're not going to be having their stores or businesses open or none of that on the Passover, because that's the day where everybody's going to be observing Passover. Just like they have us taking off on certain jobs, certain slaveries we might have, like if you got a state job or a county job or something like that, and they let you take off on days like Thanksgiving and Christmas and all that stuff, and having you basically in a way observe that day. We're going to make sure that nobody works and nobody does anything on that day. You know what I'm saying? Basic. And another point in bringing, like, the Lord's going to have mercy on us and bring us in our own land. That's what the Lord going to do And you know, when he does that, these other nations, man, they got a day coming for them, because everything they doing right now, mainly the oppressor, the devil, the Bible speaks of, he's gonna have to pay for everything he did, and then eventually the Lord just gonna have him wiped off the face of the planet. You understand? And that's in the Bible. You know what I mean? But coming up on the time, you know what I'm saying, I'm a wrap it right here. I appreciate everybody for tuning into the class. All right, so with that, I'm gonna wrap it up. Shalom, y'all. Bashim al Shabbat. Y'all Shema talking about Shim al Shai. Salaki, if y'all might hear some stuff in the background, I think people next door listening to, I don't know, they got something going on over there. All right, but well, until next week, you in library. I'll be here every Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know how we do it. Come, hit me up if y'all want to come in person or anything like that. All right, until next time though, I'm gone. Shalom.